Hello crafters and welcome back to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. My name is Deepa from Designs by Dee, and today I have this fun festive card to share with you. Now I know that we're coming to the end of summer and we're not quite into the winter season yet, but as far as I know, as soon as Christmas in July comes, I'm good to start making Christmas cards. So I really wanted to create this fun Christmas card and share it with you. Let's go ahead and look at the products that we used. These products are from the All About Christmas collection from Spellbinders by Lisa Horton. I'm going to be using 3 sets here. I've got the little birdies, which have these 2 cute little birdies with a couple branches here and a snowy scene. I've got the Lots of Stripes dies, which create a great background. And then I've got the Christmas Sentiment stamp and die set. So these 3 products come together to work perfectly for a nice background, a nice little fun scene, and a sentiment. The first thing I'm going to do is die cut my background. So I've got 2 colors of cardstock here. I've got purple and yellow, and I'm going to go ahead and use the diagonal plate. First of all, I use that rectangle to cut out the yellow, so I get one part of my stripes, and then I'm going to connect the diagonal plate plus that rectangle so I can get a bit of a frame and then the other color of stripes. So I'll go ahead and cut this out of the purple cardstock, and now you can see you get that diagonal frame which will go on top of the yellow, and that's how you get your diagonal stripes. Now for my background, or for the rest of the card there, I'm going to use a deeper purple, and I'm just cutting an A2 sized piece of cardstock there. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out that rectangle from the center. Now the way you do this is up to you. If you want to use the same style, you can. I'm doing kind of like an inlay technique, and then I'm going to prop up that deeper purple frame so that it has a variation in depth. It'll make more sense as it comes together. So just trust me here. So I've gone ahead and cut out that rectangle, and you can see this fits right there in the center. And I'm going to lift this frame up so it sits up a little bit higher. So we'll put that aside for now, and we'll start working on these cute little birdies and the scene that they're going to work with. Now, keep in mind I didn't actually put this through my die cutting machine and just flip the packaging onto it. You do have to take it off or things will stick together. But I did cut everything out of white cardstock. Now, if you wanted, you could just pick and choose the different color cardstocks you want to use. I find that this is easier for me because I don't have to search through different colored cardstocks that I might not have, and this way I can kind of streamline my color scheme and use inks that match to work for me. So I've cut everything out of white. I'm going to start with some Pinkfresh Studio inks on the branches. I'm using dough as like a lighter brown color, and then gathered twigs for the deeper color, and I'm just going to add these colors along the branches in different areas to create a variation of color and to create depth. I think I added the darker brown more along the edges where the twigs kind of meet and things like that. And you can see it gives you a nice look in the end there. Now I have a little tray here, and I'm just collecting all of these pieces in there as I add color to them. You can collect things in a tray like this. You can keep them on the sticky mat and then put them together. Do whatever works for you. So now I'm going to go ahead and start adding colors to all of these pieces based on a color scheme that I have in mind and that matches the background that I made. So I'm adding some marigold to the feet and the little noses. I'm adding some olive to the little leaves there. I'm adding some ocean breeze to these 3 pieces here, which would make up the scarf for one of the birdies. Then I'm also going to use a little bit of this on the body of one of them. So there are 2 birds. So there's one facing right and there's one facing left, so they look at each other. The one facing right is the one that I'm going to do the blues on. So I've got ocean breeze, and I'm adding a little bit of turquoise to deepen up the belly and a little areas around the birdie. So once that is done, I've got some regal kiss, and you see these little teardropped looking bits. Those are kind of like the wings. So for one of them, I made that regal kiss, and the second one I'm doing Tidal Pond, and I also did a pair of the little boots, the Tidal Pond color as well. So now I've got some mulberry blush, And I'm going to be adding that to the second birdie that's facing left, and then also to the second set of boots. And then I'll also use it to color in whatever else is red. So we've got the little heart, which goes on that little envelope. I'll mention that again in a second. And then I'm also using it on the little toque or the Santa hat. And I noticed that I forgot to add color to the little earmuffs that's under the hat there in the bottom left of my sticky mat. So I added some Tidal Pond to that as well. And then I added some Regal Kiss just really lightly to the little flowers at the bottom, just to the right of the hat and the earmuffs. I added some detail black to the little circles, which are for the eyes. And then I think that's it. I think that's good. And then the little heart there. So I showed you here that this little envelope and the little heart, it actually comes from the Yuletide Ride set, which was released last month or so. So all I'm using is that one little envelope from that set because I thought that it went really well with this card and the two little birdies. And the scene at the end of this is going to have these two little birdies kind of enjoying a little romantic Christmas scene there where the blue birdie is going to give the red birdie a little envelope, that envelope with the little heart there for Christmas. So everything is going to tie in together very nicely. So now I'm kind of putting things together. I'm assembling the little birds. You can see that the red little bird, I've added the black circle to the eye behind it. Then I've added the wing with a square foam adhesive piece. There is a set of a variety pack of those foam pieces. There's like a larger size and a smaller size, and the smaller size works perfectly behind the wing here. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the stick legs there, and then the little booties, which are just so cute. It takes a little bit of fussing with to get them straight and exactly where you want, but when you have these tools like the Spellbinders reverse grip tweezers, they really help getting these things into place. I also like using the Barely Arts glue because it has a really fine tip which helps with putting all these tiny little pieces together. I'm adding now the little scarf. So we've got that longer piece which actually goes around the bird's neck, and then these two little pieces which come together and we put at the front here as the two little pieces that are tied, or at the end where you tie the scarf together. Now I'll put that aside for a second, and then I'll put together the second birdie, which is the one who will do the delivering. I'm going to go ahead and add that black circular die cut to the back of the eye, and again I will stick these stick legs onto the birdie's bottom, to the bottom of the bird. I'll add the little nose, and then I can add the boots. And again, as I mentioned, you could put everything in the little plate that I had in the beginning. You could have a little plate that you keep it aside, or I find just keeping it on the sticky mat so I can see everything helps as well. And it really helps you prevent loss of your little die cut images. So, I mean, these sticky mats are amazing, and they're like, they have multiple functions rather than just adding ink or stamping things out. They help keep everything together. So I noticed on the first bird that we put together, I forgot to put the little earmuffs on. So I added that along with the white piece for the fluffy bit. And then for the toque here, you can see I'm adding the white rim, and then the little white pom-pom at the top. I'm putting this together, and then I can go ahead and add this to the top of the blue little birdie there. You can use liquid glue like I have, or a little bit of foam if you want it to stand up. It's up to you. Again, I'm using the foam adhesive for the wing, and we're using that purple wing here. I just found these colors come together nicely, and I found them online. I just kind of looked up a color scheme and saw that these colors work together nicely, so I thought I would make my birdies these turquoise, red, and purpley colors. Now there are these little flower bits. You can cut out a whole bunch of them. I only have a couple here. And these were the ones that I added just a light touch of Regal Kiss to. And then now I'm just adding the 2 leaves on either side. So you can add those to your branches to dress them up a little bit and give your scene a little bit more interest. Now moving on, I am doing my sentiments. So the Christmas sentiment stamp set and dies is amazing. I love sets like these because they're smart. So this is a 1-piece stamp. It cuts out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sentiments there. So it's a 1-piece stamp, a 1-piece die, comes together nicely. So I have tons of extra sentiments I keep on the side that I can use for other projects as well. I've gone ahead and I've cut out the Christmas from the die, the layering die. And there are 3 dies to this. So you can cut out the actual Christmas sentiment, a background die, and then another layer for the background if you want. I'm only going to use the first 2, which is the sentiment and the first layer, but you could use all 3 if you wanted to. I'm using some of that Tidal Pond ink. I like to choose a color from the colors that I've already used so things kind of are cohesive and go together. I'm just adding this ink to the sentiment here, and then I'm pretty much done with the sentiment besides kind of assembling it before we put it on our card. Looks really nice against that crisp white. So now I have all of my pieces and it's just a matter of assembling everything. So as I mentioned, I'll go ahead and attach this Christmas sentiment to the back here. Now you have the backing. You could attach this in one layer as I am. If you wanted to add some extra dimension, I recommend maybe cutting out that Christmas sentiment a couple more times and then layering it together to give it more depth if you want. You don't have to. Now for this frame, I've added some foam tape to the back, and I'm going to attach this first to my white side folding A2 size card base. Everything that I've used in this video, including the adhesives and the tools and everything, are listed within the description below. So you can check that all out on the ScrapbookPal site. If there is something that I've used here that I can't quite find, which is not likely, I think there's maybe one thing, I've linked something similar. So I've gone ahead and I've attached that frame with the foam, and now I'm going to attach the diagonal stripes. So this is another opportunity to add some dimension if you wanted to. I think I have enough going on here. I want different levels and layers. Now keep in mind, if you do add dimension, it's going to depend on your postage. Is this going through the mail? Is it something that's going to be given by hand? That's how I tend to determine how much dimension I will put on a card. If it's going through the mail, I'll put less. If I know it's going to be hand delivered, I put tons. So now that I've got that diagonal stripes background together, I'll go ahead and inlay it in the frame. And like I said, the dimension there is subtle, but I really like it. And I like that I can kind of tuck in these branches on the edge there instead of having to nip things off to make things fit. So I'm kind of just organizing my design here to see how things are going to fit together, where I'm going to put my branches, and then I'll start gluing things down and making things a little bit more permanent. So I've got one branch coming out of the right side of the frame, kind of drawing your eye upwards. That was done intentionally because that's going to draw your eye toward the sentiment, and that's going to go near the top. And then I've got the second branch near the bottom, because this is what these little birdies are going to stand on to have their little winter romantic encounter. Now I'm going to use another piece of foam to attach my little birdies. It's again up to you, dependent on your mailing efforts and what you desire. I always like to add the foam squares because, one, I find that I like the dimension, and two, it's just easier. I don't have to worry about drying time. You just kind of stick it and you're done. And then I've got my little envelope, which I'm going to kind of put in his beak there like he's giving it to his little birdie friend. I just want to make sure I've got it centered right and kind of like tuck it right under his beak, and that looks really cute. I had a little bit of glue adhesive stuck on there, so I just kind of pulled that off. And then I'm going to see where my sentiment can go. And I love to play around with this, kind of move it around. Do I want it at the top, the bottom? I ended up putting it at the top. And then I'm going to put the little flowers on the branch, wherever you can see the branches. So that was why I put the sentiment on first. I haven't attached it, but I know that it's going to go in that vicinity. So now I can say, okay, I can put these extra little flowers and leaves on the branches in these areas where they'll be seen. Then I've got the little snow tufts here. So these I cut out with the die, and I just kept them aside because they were white. I didn't have to add ink to them. And now I can kind of add them on the branches to kind of indicate where there's some snow that has landed. I'll put that on there as I see fit. And you can see they fit anywhere. You could kind of cut them up too if you wanted to. It's up to you. Another idea that I like is you don't actually have to use the die cuts. You could use some other medium to add the snow. You can maybe use some fluffy embossing powder if you have that, or just white embossing powder. It's up to you. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach my sentiment. I've got these strips of foam, which really come in handy. I'll have them linked in the description below as well. I love these for sentiments. And then I'm just going to add the small squares to the Christmas sentiment with a little bit of liquid glue on the edge, because that's going to end up sitting on the frame, so that everything is kind of at the same level, and I'll attach that. Now you'll notice the Christmas, I can see it now, it's a little bit off. It's a little bit on an angle. Don't worry, I'll sort that out later. But just to finish off this card with some bling, I've got some Pinkfresh Studio clear iridescent drops. And I just thought that there's a lot of color going on this card here. So the clear drops will just add a little bit of shimmer, and I'll just kind of space them in the background. I like to put an odd number because odd numbers tend to be more aesthetically pleasing. And then I have one more added touch, which is actually, sorry, I have two. So I've got my white pen here, and I'm just going to add some dots in the background. So this is just going to be some falling snow. I tend to find that if the pen stops working, if I just kind of run it along my skin on my hand, it starts working again. So that's why I'm coloring on my hand there. Now that I've got the snow in the background, one more touch. I've got diamond stickles, and this just creates a little bit of glitter shine on those pieces of snow that are on the branches. Just a little bit. And then I added a little bit on the brown branches as well for some extra shine. And I think that I'm done now. So here I'll just fix up that Christmas sentiment, which was on a little bit of an angle. And I think I'm finally done. So that's my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll get started on your Christmas card making too. And as I mentioned, everything I've used is linked in the description below. Be sure to check out the ScrapbookPal store. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of future videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.